Hello friends, welcome to CA Passion channel. In this video, we are going to learn Ind AS 10 Part 2, Events after the reporting period. Firstly, we are going to learn some special cases. First one, long-term loan arrangements. Where there is a breach of a material provision of a long-term loan arrangement on or before the end of the reporting period with the effect that the liability becomes payable on demand on the reporting date, but with the agreement by lender before the approval of the financial statements for issue to not demand payment as a consequence of the breach shall be considered as an adjusting event. This means when there is a breach of long-term loan arrangement before reporting period, then it becomes payable and treated as current liability. But on agreement with lender before approval of financial statements, then again it will be treated as non-current liability and treated as adjusting event. Let us discuss an example. Here, ABC Limited, in order to raise funds, has privately placed debentures of Rs 1 crore on 1st January 2001, issued to PQR Limited. As per the original terms of agreement, the debentures are to be redeemed on 31st March 2009. One of the conditions of the private placement of the debentures was that debt equity ratio at the end of any reporting year should not exceed 2:1. If this condition is not fulfilled, then PQR Limited has a right to demand immediate redemption of the debentures. On 31st March 2006, debt equity ratio of ABC Limited exceeds 2:1. Therefore, PQR Limited decides to return the debentures. By this para, we understand that there is a breach of agreement between ABC Limited and PQR Limited. Thus, on 31st March 2006, the liability of the ABC Limited towards PQR Limited, which was originally a long-term liability, becomes a current liability since it is now a liability on demand. However, ABC Limited enters into an agreement with PQR Limited on 15th April 2006 that PQR Limited will not demand the payment immediately. The financial statements are approved by BOD Board of Directors on 30th April 2006. Here, there is an agreement before the approval of financial statements with the PQR Limited to not demand the payment immediately. So, it is an adjusting event and the liability can be treated as non-current liability. Let us see conclusion. Now, in such a case, the liability is turning into demand liability on 31st March 2006. The agreement that PQR Limited will not demand the money immediately is a subsequent event. Even though it is a subsequent event, not affecting the condition existing at the balance sheet date, yet because of the specific provisions of Ind AS 10, it has to be given effect in the financial statements for the year 2005-06. Accordingly, it would continue to be classified as a non-current liability as on 31st March 2006. In other words, the reclassification of debentures as current liability as at 31st March 2006 will be adjusted and once again classified as a non-current liability as at that date. Finally, we can say that long-term loan agreements can be adjusted if there is an agreement with lender before the approval of financial statements to not demand the payment. Second one, going concern. Ind AS 10 specifically requires that if after the reporting period but before approval of financial statements there are any signs of not continuing the operation or the decision is taken during that period not to continue with the operations in spite of the fact that the decision was taken after the reporting period, still the entity should prepare the financial statements with a different approach and accordingly inform the stakeholders clearly that the entity is planning to cease operations. Here, it clearly says that if there is no hope of continuing the business, then the entity must prepare its financial statements in a different approach. If a company decides to go into liquidation, then the long term liabilities of the company will turn into short term liabilities, as the company will have to pay all its debts before it closes down its operations. In this way, the overall approach of accounting will change when there is no going concern approach. This means when an entity is going to cease its operations, then all its liabilities needs to be paid immediately. So, all long term liabilities will become short term liabilities. In this way, entire accounting approach will be changed. Let us discuss an example. A going concern company assumes that the raw material, inventory, and work in progress will be completed in due course and the inventories of finished goods would be ready for sale. But if the company has no intention to continue with the business, it may take a decision to sell the raw material and work in progress at best available market price, maybe at scrap value also. Let us discuss an problem. Company XYZ Limited was formed to secure the tenders floated by a telecom company for publication of telephone directories. This means company needs to secure tenders to continue its business operations. Let us continue. It bagged the tenders for publishing directories for Pune Circle for 5 years. It has made a profit in 2001 to 2, 2002 to 3, 2003 to 4, and 2004 to 5. It bid in tenders for publication of directories for other circles Nagpur, Nasik, Mumbai, Hyderabad. But as per the results declared on 23rd April 2005, the company failed to bag any of these. Its only activity till date is publication of Pune directory. The contract for publication of directories for Pune will expire on 31st December 2005. The financial statements for the financial year 2004-5 have been approved by the Board of Directors on July 10, 2005. Whether it is appropriate to prepare the financial statements on going concern basis. Here, XYZ Limited results declared on 23rd April 2005, which is before the approval of financial statements, and there are signs of no going concern assumption. So, this is an adjusting event and there must be change in accounting approach. Let us see the solution. An entity shall not prepare its financial statements on a going concern basis if management determines after the reporting period either that it intends to liquidate the entity or to cease trading or that it has no realistic alternative but to do so. Decline in operating results and financial position after the reporting period may indicate a need to consider whether the going concern assumption is still appropriate. If the going concern assumption is no longer appropriate, the effect is so pervasive that the standard requires a fundamental change in the basis of accounting rather than an adjustment to the amounts recognized within the original basis of accounting. Here, pervasive means entire financial statements will be affected. That means to follow a different accounting approach. In accordance with the above, an entity needs to change the basis of accounting if the effect of deterioration in operating results and financial position is so pervasive that management determines after the reporting period either that it intends to liquidate the entity or to cease trading or that it has no realistic alternative but to do so. This means there is no alternative other than to cease the trading operations. Let us analyze our case. In the instant case, since contract is expired on 31st December 2005 and it is confirmed on 23rd April 2005, that is, after the end of reporting period and before the approval of financial statements, that no further contract is secured, implies that the entity's operations are expected to come to an end. Accordingly, If entity's operations are expected to come to an end, the entity needs to make a judgment as to whether it has any realistic possibility to continue or not. In case the entity determines that it has no realistic alternative of continuing the business, preparation of financial statements for 2004 and 5 and thereafter on going concern basis may not be appropriate. This means entity needs to make a judgment whether there is any alternative to continue the business or not. If there is no alternative, then it must follow a different accounting approach. Let us discuss one more problem. In the plant of PQR Limited, there was a fire on 10th August 2001, in which the entire plant was damaged and the loss of rupees 40 lakhs is estimated. The claim with the insurance company has been filed and a recovery of 27 lakhs is expected. The financial statements for the year ended 31st March 2001 were approved by the Board of Directors on 12th June 2001. Show how it should be disclosed. Here, a major fire accident has took place in PQR Limited. Even though it is a non-existing event, but the entity should conform the going concern assumption. Let us see the solution. In the instant case, since fire took place after the end of reporting period, it is a non-adjusting event. However, in accordance with Ind AS 10, disclosures regarding non-adjusting event should be made in the financial statements. That is, the nature of the event and the expected financial effect of the same. With regard to going concern basis followed for preparation of financial statements, the company needs to determine whether it is appropriate to prepare the financial statements on going concern basis, since there is only one plant which has been damaged due to fire. In the question, it says that the entire plant was damaged, so that we can assume there is only one plant and it was damaged. Next, if the effect of decline in operating results and financial position is so pervasive that management determines after the reporting period either that it intends to liquidate the entity or to cease trading, or that it has no realistic alternative but to do so. Preparation of financial statements for the financial year 2000 and 2001 on going concern assumption may not be appropriate. In that case, the financial statements may have to be prepared on the basis of other than going concern basis. However, if going concern assumption is considered to be appropriate, even after the fire, no adjustment is required in the financial statements for the year ended 31st March 2001. This means if going concern assumption is appropriate even after the fire, then the entity needs no adjustment because there is no condition exists on or before the reporting period. Third one, dividends. Generally, dividends are declared after the financial statements are finalized. So, let us see whether it is adjusting or non-adjusting. First, if dividends are declared after the reporting period but before the financial statements are approved for issue, the dividends are not recognized as a liability at the end of the reporting period because no obligation exists at that time. Such dividends are disclosed in the notes in accordance with Ind AS 1, presentation of financial statements. The crux of difference between adjusting event and non-adjusting event depends on the fact whether the event provides evidence for existence of a condition at the end of the reporting period or not. Usually, dividend declaration and acceptance of dividend is made after the reporting period, and the condition for declaration of dividend is not existing on or before the reporting period. So, it will be treated as non-adjusting event. But in case Dividend payments to the redeemable preference shareholders are recognized as expense in the same way as interest on a bond, because there is already an agreement exists with the redeemable preference shareholders to pay certain amount of dividend. Let us discuss some problems. ABC Limited declares dividend on 15 July 2002 as the results of the year 2001-2 as well as quarter 1 ending 30th June 2002 are better than expected. The financial statements of the company are approved on 20th July 2002 for the financial year ending 31st March 2002. Will the dividend be accounted for in the financial year 2002-3 or will it be accounted for in the year 2001-2? Here, even though dividend declared before the approval of financial statements, it is a non-adjusting event as the condition of declaration of dividend is not existing on or before the reporting date. Let us see the solution. The dividend is declared in the year 2002-3. Therefore, the obligation towards dividend did not exist at the end of the reporting period, that is on 31st March 2002. Therefore, it will be accounted for in the year 2002-3 and not in 2001-2. Even if financial statements for 2001-2 were approved after the declaration of dividend, it will, however, be disclosed in the notes in the financial statements for the year 2001-2 in accordance with Ind AS 1. Let us discuss one more problem. What would be the treatment for dividends declared to redeemable preference shareholders after the reporting period but before the financial statements are approved for issue for the year 2001-2? Whether Ind AS 10 prescribes any accounting treatment for such dividends. Let us see the solution. Ind AS 10 prescribes accounting treatment for dividends declared to holders of equity instruments. If an entity declares dividends to holders of equity instruments after the reporting period, the entity shall not recognize those dividends as a liability at the end of reporting period, as we discussed already. However, Ind AS 10 does not prescribe accounting treatment for dividends declared to redeemable preference shareholders. As per the principles of Ind AS 32, financial instruments presentation a preference share that provides for mandatory redemption by the issuer for a fixed or determinable amount at a fixed or determinable future date, or gives the holder the right to require the issuer to redeem the instrument at or after a particular date for a fixed or determinable amount is a financial liability. Thus, dividend payments to such preference shares are recognized as expense in the same way as interest on a bond, since interest will be charged on time basis. The requirements of Ind AS 10 regarding date of declaration of dividend not relevant for its recognition. If you like my video, please do like, share and subscribe. Thank you.